Good evening, everyone. My name is Spencer Bradford. I am Director of Durham Congregations in Action and a part of the Durham Crop Hunger Walk Steering Committee. It is good to be on with you tonight remotely, even though we were unable to gather in person as we had planned for the last couple of months because of COVID. But we still wanted to celebrate and recognize our walk award winners and partners in the community for what we accomplished in 2021 at the Durham Crop Hunger Walk. With that, we're going to begin our evening activities with brief remarks by Joe Moran, also a member of our Crop Walk Committee, a longtime leader in our region for Church World Service in organizing crop hunger walks. Joe, I am going to share my screen here as you come on and get ready to begin your comments. Let's see here.
Thank you, Spencer. Good to see everybody on here. Last year's Crop Hunger Walk was dedicated to Karin Johansen. Karin passed away a year and a half ago. For years, she had served as the event coordinator at the head of a team of about 20 people who organized the event. I want to tell you a little about Karin. Now, good organizers say that if you want to have a successful meeting, you need to have another meeting first to plan for that meeting. Well, that was Karin. Every 4 weeks, the 5 of us who served on the Crop Hunger Walk Executive Committee would get an email in the morning from her saying, "Meeting at Panera's at noon today to plan next week's committee meeting." And rain or shine, heat or sleet, we'd show up. We showed up because Karin showed up. Despite lifelong physical challenges, Karin never seemed to get tired of expending her energy and sharing her many talents. She repeatedly organized Durham into one of the top 2 most successful crop hunger walks in the nation. Karin knew just about everyone in town here. She knew the key people in the media. She knew the names of the city council members and the county commissioners. She was on a first name basis with our 2 mayors, Bill Bell and Steve Schewel. She even knew the secret identity of Woolly Bull. Karin's compassion for the hungry here and around the world and her dedicated action on their behalf made her a giant among the thousands of hunger fighters that I have known in my 40 years of doing this work. She inspired, and she continues to inspire us all. Karin, smile down on us now. We promise we'll carry on your hunger fighting legacy.
Thank you, Joe. Appreciate those remarks and that remembrance of our friend. We are now going to, some of you may not know that last year was the 75th anniversary of Church World Service, the global relief and development organization that our Durham Crop Hunger Walk raises funds for each year. And we're going to, we would have a short celebration for y'all to see of that 75 years of history of addressing poverty here and around the world. Oh.
Thank you.
short reminder and portrayal of what the funds we raise go to do around the world, how they're used, and the lives that they impact. From Church World Service, we have with us tonight Roberta Smith, who is going to lead our recognition of our top Walker teams from 2021, the teams that raised the most funds in their respective categories in the community, from faith communities to businesses and school groups and nonprofits. Roberta, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. It's good to see all of you here tonight. Thank you so much for all of the different ways that you support the Durham Crop Hunger Walk. So as Spencer said, we want to highlight our top fundraising teams tonight. And we have a couple of categories, the silver and gold sneaker categories. And so we're going to start with our large congregation. And for this past year, the congregation that receives the Silver Sneaker Award is Watts Street Baptist Church. And I understand that Sarah Hanshey and Henry Kuntz might be on the call with us tonight. Thank you, Sarah and Henry, for your work at Watts Street.
And Roberta, just a moment. Here is the silver plaque. We will be delivering these sneaker award plaques to the recipients in person over the next couple of weeks. So if you don't see yours tonight, you'll be seeing it in person in the very near future. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Roberta.
Awesome. All right. And so for the Gold Sneaker Award in the large congregation category, Duke Memorial United Methodist Church raised the most funds. And I understand Garrett is on the call from Duke Memorial. Thank you, Garrett. And as Spencer said, we'll send your plaque. We'll have your plaque mailed to you later. So the next category is in our medium, for our medium congregations in Durham. The Silver Sneaker Award goes to Westminster Presbyterian Church. And I believe I saw Neil on here.
And
Thank
Cherry,
you, Neil.
And Cherry Henry too.
Thank you so much. And for the Gold Sneaker Award in our medium congregation category, the top fundraising team is Blacknell Memorial Presbyterian Church. And I know Doug is on here. So Doug, thank you so much for all of your hard work.
Honored to do it. And David is also on too, David Underdale.
Thank you, David.
Thank you.
All right, so our next category is with small congregations, and our Silver Sneaker Award in the small congregation category goes to Christus Victor Lutheran. Is anyone here from Christus Victor?
Looks like maybe Pastor Ben is on with us. I see the Christus Victor name there.
Awesome.
And Jeff Scott is our lead guy. He's on here too.
Oh, great.
All right.
Wasn't sure if Jeff was going to make it. Good to have you with us tonight.
Thank you so much for your support. And in the small congregation category, the Gold Sneaker Award goes to Pilgrim United Church of Christ. And I know that Tom Harris and Ellen Metcalf are on the call tonight.
And also Alice Ratliff, who was one of our team captains.
Awesome. Thank you, Alice. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Ellen. So moving ahead, we have the, in the business category, the Silver Sneaker Award in the business category goes to Agbiome. Is anyone on here from Agbiome?
I don't think we heard back from anybody there.
Okay. All right, thank you, Agbiome. And the Gold Sneaker Award in the business category goes to Syngenta. In the schools and university category, the Gold Sneaker Award goes to North Carolina Central University Eagles. Go Eagles. Awesome, awesome. And the Gold Sneaker Award in the schools category goes to Camelot Academy. Is anyone on here from Camelot? Way to go, Camelot. All right. In the nonprofit group, we have the Silver Sneaker Award goes to the Lions Club. And I understand Sharon is on here representing the Lions Club. Is there anyone else from the Lions Club? All right, thank you, Sharon. And then
I am from the Lions Club, Vic Moore.
Hi, Vic.
All right, Vic.
Thank you so much for your support.
And also from Blacknell.
Awesome, awesome. And the Gold Sneaker Award in the nonprofit category goes to Meals on Wheels. And I know Annette is on here. Thank you, Annette, for your incredible support. So these are the groups that were our top fundraising teams for the 2021 Durham Crop Hunger Walk. So thank you, everyone, for your hard work.
Thank you, Roberta. Also, now, since we had those of y'all who are able to be on with us tonight, we so appreciate the work that you've done for the walk and the time that you're taking to be with us tonight. If any of you have something to share about the work of your team and organizing that you'd like to offer up to the rest, observation about anything that really inspired your walkers, or that they in their adaptation to COVID to still succeed so well at raising funds to fight hunger. I want to invite, we're going to take a couple minutes. I want to invite any of you who would like to comment on that, representing your team, please to speak up, unmute yourself and share.
I'd just like to say from Pilgrim, we're really fortunate to have a team of folks that were very dedicated and did whatever they could to help us in order to raise funds, you know, in a time when we're not physically present at the walk. And so I just wanted to say that, and also to say that there were some extraordinary pilgrims who went out of their way to raise funds this year by partnering with some other local folks who aren't part of the congregation. And I'd especially like to take note of Alice and Tom for doing that. They raised an extraordinary amount of money themselves to fight hunger, and it was just tremendous. And I would also like to say that we were able to put together a video that highlighted different parts of the congregation. And so people could see that, you know, no matter where they were in their circumstances, that whatever they gave made a difference as well. So I just wanted to say that it was a big group effort on all sorts of levels. So thank you all who were part of that at Pilgrim. But we, you know, I don't feel like we hold the, although we are very successful, I don't feel like what we do is a secret. And so if anybody ever wants some tips or help in putting together a dynamic crop hunger walk, I'm happy to help.
Thank you, Ellen. And in case any of you want to see that video that their members produced and posted on social media, you can go to the Durham Crop Hunger Walk Facebook page and just scroll back to March or April last year on our timeline, and you'll be able to still watch that video on our Durham Crop Hunger Walk Facebook page. Garrett, were you going to say something?
Yeah. So I'm talking on behalf of Sid Allen, who couldn't make it tonight. I'm brand new to the church, so as I was coming on, the crop walk was wrapping up. But I did have a couple weeks and chatted with some folks, and they were so impressed and welcomed by all the ways that we made it accessible to everyone. If they didn't feel comfortable being outdoors or walking at that time. And so a lot of people received a lot of encouragement from the team. And I think that's why it made it such a success. And I think people were really looking for ways to continue to fight something that was even exacerbated by the pandemic. So people were seeking ways to serve. And I think the Hunger Walk in its various forms at Duke Memorial was a success for that and for the work that you all have done too. So thank you.
Thank you, Garrett. Good to have you with us.
I'd like to make a comment. I'm Vic Moore from the Lions Club and from Blacknell. And I think one of the major reasons that Crop Walk did so well was the fact that we had 2 young people to pass away, and that the Crop Walk was in honor of Karin Johansen. I tried for months to get the newspapers to pick up on her, and what a great person she was. And then also Doug Kernig's daughter passed away. Both of them way, way too young. And I think that had a lot to do with the success of last year's crop walk.
Thanks,
And
Vic.
I'd just like to add on to that. Deanna was a force of nature at Blacknell, and her passion for the walk. Everyone in the whole congregation knew Deanna and just how much she exhorted us to participate in it. And so I think our congregation was deeply grieved at her passing less than a year ago, and wanted to honor her and her commitment to this. That's been her commitment, I mean, her whole life. I mean, from a young child on, she was so excited about Crop Walk. And so, I was glad that our congregation was able to respond in honor, memory of Deanna and her passion for the Crop Walk.
Thanks, Dave. That's great. We're going to be hearing a little bit more about that shortly. Anybody else from a team that wanted to share?
Spencer, I just wanted.
Go ahead, Sherry.
Go ahead, Sherry. Go ahead, Sherry.
I just wanted to thank Neil Mcelroy, who's led our crop walk ever since I've been at Westminster. That's been 3 years. So I don't know how many years he's been doing it. I tried to get him to tell me in the chat, and he wouldn't fess up. So he's done it a lot of years and helped us be successful. So I really wanted to thank him for that effort.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I got to meet him, I think, for the first time last year, presenting a plaque and getting up with him and Chris at Westminster. Annette, did you have anything you wanted to share?
Well, I don't know if Annette had anything to share,
Jason,
but I'm a brag on Annette if she didn't want to share anything. So much like Sherry, I wanted to call out and acknowledge Annette Reed for all of her efforts helping us with the crop walk. She doesn't let a moment go by or opportunity pass without mentioning the crop walk and without making sure everybody knows exactly what's going on with it and how they can participate. And she doesn't just do that once. Like I said, she does it every opportunity she can. So I just like to take my hat off and tip it to Annette and just tell her just how much I thank her for her support and her participation and leadership with the crop walk. So thank you.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate that. Being with Meals on Wheels Durham is an easy task. The folks that I'm surrounded with are all giving. That's including the staff, the volunteers, even the clients. And the one thing I would offer up to, I love nonprofit, so I'm always willing to help out in that arena. But for anyone, is to start your communications early and keep it consistent, and use all avenues that you have available to you to talk it up and make yourself an advocate. You know, educate yourselves. Church World Services websites, they have great resources all through the campaign. Just utilize those resources. Steal shamelessly and post as much as you can. So that's my advice to everyone to be successful in the campaign.
Thank you, Annette. And we will be, and you will be finding plenty of resources to use for getting the message out about the impact people can have from the Church World Service website and from the Durham Crop Hunger Walk Facebook page and website as well. And as Jason was saying, one of the keys to net success is repetition, repetition. As much as with teaching, with crop walk organizing, you got to keep at it repeatedly. With that, we're going to go to Bob Newlin, our crop walk treasurer, about who has some additional recognitions to make for us this evening.
Yes, every year we try to recognize those that go above and beyond and individually raise more than $1,000. That's kind of an arbitrary number. And we know that a lot of people raise a lot of money and that they don't get credit for. And there are probably a lot of people who raise more than $1,000 that I don't know about. Because if a congregation or a business or whatever does not tell me, and they didn't get that much attributed to them on the online giving, then I don't know. So if you know of anybody who raised over $1,000, we would like to give them one of the $1,000 certificates, which we will get to these, at least these people, in the next few weeks.
This is Vic Moore. I'd like to make one statement, Bob. Does anybody know who started the crop walk in Durham? It was DCIA back in the 1970s, 75, I think it was.
That kind of seems right, Vic. That's the information that I have. I came on in 1982, and I heard that in 1975, the divinity students at Duke University were very influential in starting it, and that the mayor at the time, I don't know who that was, participated himself. Tom Harris, you were a student at that time, were you not?
No, I was past being a student at that time and was not living in Durham. So I was not here when it started. I moved to Durham or back to Durham after being at Duke in the 60s and early 70s in 1982.
I was not here at that time either, but I want to know the same year, the pastor of Parkwood United Methodist began the South Durham County Crop Walk. That was when we were not in the city as we are now, and we're known as a country church. And Christus Victor and Grace, Triangle Grace, and others were part of that walk back then. But pardon me if I mispronounce somebody's name. The $1,000 people I have from First Presbyterian, Carolyn Rourke and Shirley Frederick. From Pilgrim, Ellen Metcalf. From Bethel, Michaela Davidi and Rachel Galanter. From Blacknell, Doug Kernig. From Christus Victor, Jeff Scott. From the congregation at Duke Chapel, the Almeida family. From Duke Memorial Methodist, Mark Miller. From Elizabeth Street Methodist, Mark Hips Figs. From Immaculate Conception Catholic Church, Bob Withy. Joe Moran, I think that's on behalf of End Hunger Durham. Annette Reed at Meals on Wheels. Jenny Schaefer at Triangle Grace Presbyterian. Kelly Elizabeth and Ren Sasser at Watt Street Baptist. And Kenzie Brannon at Westminster Presbyterian. those are the folks I have listed. And if there are more, let me know, because we really want to at least give them a plaque and recognize them on our website.
I just wanted to add two things. One is that Alice Ratliff and Tom Harris both raised well over $1,000. And also that it's my understanding that Creighton Lacey, who was a divinity school Christian ethics professor, and Fred Herzog were very instrumental in starting the Crop Hunger Walk in Durham through the divinity school. And so I think it came kind of primarily out of the ethics professors within the divinity school. And I wanted to raise that especially because Kristen Herzog, who was in her late 80s, walked in the Durham Crop Hunger Walk several years ago and died this past January. And and she and Fred were both very active members at Pilgrim. And so it's something kind of ingrained in the congregation there.
I'll just say that's
you,
our
Ellen.
memory as well, Ellen. It was Creighton Lacey and Professor Herzog. So that is accurate. That's the information I had at the crop office in Durham.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate that. And thank you, Ellen, for sharing that. I would like to move to now a special recognition by Roberta Smith again. Roberta, you had someone special to recognize right now.
I do.
Oh, you're muted. I'm sorry. I accidentally clicked on mute for you. There you go. Sorry.
So for many of you, you've experienced the awesome success of the Durham Crop Hunger Walk. And I believe that the success of this walk is due in large part to the tireless effort of dedicated volunteers who work for so many hours and so many months, just planning and preparing every single aspect of this walk. Another reason I believe the Durham Crop Hunger Walk is successful is because of the longevity of service of many of the volunteers who serve on the planning committee. Some of our committee members have served for more than 30 years. Each of them is seasoned in their respective task, and they do an exceptional job of completing whatever responsibility they're assigned to do. One of our long-serving volunteers who shoulders major responsibilities is Bob Newlin. Bob attends every single crop walk meeting and all of our team captain rallies. He prints all of our walk flyers each year, and he's usually the first person to arrive on the days when we gather to put together team captain packets. One major responsibility that Bob has is to manage the income for the Crop Hunger Walk. And for this walk, which is one of the largest walks in the nation, that's no small feat. Bob has held the position of walk treasurer for many, many years. At the end of each walk season, he and I go back and forth trying to reconcile his records with what CWS has. He does so with patience and understanding, but he's always so determined that we're going to get it right. Because Bob understands that our goal is not only to recruit walkers and donors, but to handle their contributions in a way that is transparent and that's accurate. Bob's commitment and dedication to the Durham Crop Hunger Walk is second to none. So tonight, on behalf of Church World Service, I would like to recognize Bob Newlin as a champion for crop. And so with that, Bob, I would like to present you with this beautiful picture, one of our program pictures of a family carrying their crop, and it has a message of thanks written in multiple languages from families all across the world. And it reads, Church Road Service recognizes Bob Newland for outstanding service as treasurer for the Durham Crop Hunger Walk. So thank you, Bob, for all of your years of service. I can't say enough how much I appreciate you and all that you do for the Durham Crop Hunger Walk. And I will be mailing this beautiful picture to you sometime this week. Thanks, Bob.
Well, I appreciate that very much. And there are people on here that have been with the crop walk longer than I.
So thank you, Roberta, for that, and to Bob for the work that you've done. Doug Kernig is going to also share some remembrance remarks of his daughter, one of our other steering committee members that we lost early last year. Doug?
Yeah, thank you, Spencer. And I appreciate the award and the recognition for Blacknell and this opportunity, to have an award ceremony, to gather, to talk about how great Crop Walk is and how wonderful the year has gone. And it's good to be able to get together and do this stuff, because Crop Walk and Church World Service is such an important ministry, not only, well, globally, of course, but right here in Durham. And I know you know that, and a lot of the things that our churches support, the ministries and so on, are part of DCIA too. So we are all in this together. And we at Blacknell are honored to have been able to participate for a few years. But my personal note of reflection is really about Deanna. So as you know, a majority of the money raised by Blacknell this year was in memory of Deanna. And as you also know, and many of the people on the call know, her personal walk in this world ended way too soon last year. In fact, just about a year ago, to a rare brain disease. We still personally, and her family still feel her presence. And as Dave said, the church is still, there's this legacy of Deanna there with Crop Walk. There's no question about her excitement for Crop Walk. She was a unique individual. And those of you who've gotten to know her would totally agree with David's characterization as a force of nature. She had participated in Crop Walk around the country in multiple states for more than 25 years. And she was only 32, and yet she had that many years in time with Crop Walk. She had been at one point the Crop Walk coordinator for the Plymouth Canton in the Plymouth, Michigan area. We weren't as large by any means as the Durham Walk, but it was still a role that she had, and she was twice the top fundraiser in the entire state of Michigan. She had a significant personal experience working with the homeless and hungry here in the Triangle. So not only did she have all these years with the Crop Walk in various states and opportunities around the country, and for all those years, she also knew the homeless, the plight of the homeless and the hungry here in the Triangle, Durham more specifically. And she personally was even sometimes the beneficiary of services from Church World Service. So she said in many ways that her participation in the Crop Walk saved her life more than once. And she drew strength from the walk and from, more importantly, I think from the people that she worked with. Many of the people are on this call. She would point to every one of you and say that you kept her going in her darkest times. And I just want to express my appreciation for you all and how much you helped her. She never lost her zeal for life, her passion for the Crop Walk, and her desire to make the world a better place. She was always all about how do I make things better for someone else. The money raised on her page in memoriam is really a testament to her life and her legacy. I often have said she loved the Crop Walk more than any other thing, and I would say maybe except for Michigan State University. If you know her, you'll understand that. But yes, Crop Walk was a huge part of her life. So it is really a sincere honor to me to be able to walk in memory of Deanna and to be able to remind our group and, you know, me personally of how much Deanna meant to the crop walk and also how much the crop walk meant to Deanna. So thank you very much, all of you.
Thank you, Doug. And Deanna certainly meant a lot to us. And it's still strange to be doing this work without her with us as part of our team. We are also going to have Tom Harris now acknowledge and spotlight our sponsors for the Crop Hunger Walk.
Thank you, Spencer. Well, every year, our walkers from our congregations and our businesses and our schools and universities raise an amazing amount of money, and we've done this for a number of years. And every one of those years that we have been a leading crop walk in the nation, we've been able to give all of the money that has been raised by the walkers to Church World Service and to our local agencies. And this is because of the amazing array of local sponsors that we have for our walk. And of course, if you've ever walked in a walk and worn one of our t-shirts, or not even wearing it, looked at someone else's t-shirt they were wearing, you are well aware that we have these sponsors. And because you probably have seen that some have logos and some have their names listed, that there are different levels of sponsorship that we have. So I'm going to share with you, well, here is, I think, the list of sponsors that we currently have listed on the back of our t-shirt. And I'm going to share with you briefly their names. I'm going to voice them and explain what level they're at. And if there's two kinds of sponsors. There's those that give money, which we greatly appreciate, which do defray our costs for doing the walk. And then there are those who give in kind, which also provide us with ways of defraying our costs and of services, which we don't have to pay for from someone else. So let me say that the lowest level we call our bronze level, and it's not a lowly level, it's a $300 gift level. And for that, they get their name listed on the t-shirt and in our brochure. And as you see, I'm going to go down my list here. The ones who give money include Beth El Synagogue. That means some of our congregations actually participate as sponsors in addition to doing walks. Covenant Presbyterian, Maria Austin Realty, the law offices of Douglas E. Kernig, who just spoke to you. So he's not only on our committee, but is a sponsor. The Research Triangle Park Federal Credit Union, Wavelengths, Big Frog Custom T-shirts, who printed our T-shirts this year, by the way, and Jeffrey Cecil, dentist in town, DDS, and TC's Auto Wash and Detail. They all contributed $300. Now, we also have in-kind bronze at the bronze level, and those include Coca-Cola, Durham Community Concert Band, DCIA, Durham Police Reserves, who guard our walking across the streets when we do the walk, Penske Truck Rental, Tar Heel Trophy and Plaque, who prepare our wonderful plaques that you get when your church gets a recognition award, St. Paul's Lutheran Church, and Durham Lions Club. Now, the people who get their logos on at the second level or give $500 or $500 worth of in-kind services or help. And the ones who gave money this year are Acme Plumbing, C.T. Wilson Construction Company, the Aluminum Company in North Carolina, CNC Automotive, Clean Green Environmental Services, Durham Co-op Market, and Pilgrim United Church of Christ. Those at this silver level who do in-kind there's only one, and that's I think it's Web Mistress LD Creative Media, who helps us with our brochure every year. And finally, at the highest level, we have these sponsors who do give in kind, and that's Durham Herald Sun for publicity, and likewise for WTVD TV, ABC, NBC TV, TV 17, WRAL TV, CBS, Fox 50, Durham Bulls, who provide Wool E Bull for our opening ceremony and step off, Carolina Times for publicity, and Harris Teeter, who supplies food supplies for our rest stop. And finally, there's one additional sponsor at the highest level who actually gave more than $1,000, gave $1,200 in order to be able to display a banner and sponsor one of our events like the end of the walk. And that is the Orchid Group at Morgan Stanley. So for all of these sponsors, we a great amount of gratitude for allowing us these services and the money to offset our expenses, so that all the money we raise through our walkers can be used for the relief, the great hunger and poverty relief and refugee and catastrophic relief that the Church World Service provides and our local agencies also provide here in Durham. Thank you all.
Thank you, Tom. Appreciate that. And thanks to all of our great sponsors coming back this year for our in-person walk in 2022. Speaking of the refugee relief work that Church World Service does, we're very pleased to have with us and to have back with us now Mary Ellen Poe with the Church World Service Refugee Office here in Durham. Mary Ellen, you are on, and if you want to share your screen, let me know and I'll make you co-host.
Great, thank you. Hi, everyone. My name is Mary Ellen. I'm the development manager at CWS Durham's Immigration and Refugee Program. First, just want to acknowledge that a Zoom bombing just reminds you that the world is not as it should be. And when spaces that feel safe and joyful are violated, that's really disrupting. So I'm sorry to each of you for having to have that experience. But I will also say that I have been really inspired tonight. Just hearing all the people and the history and the legacies of loved ones who have spent so much of their time, energy, and passion in fighting hunger in our local community and around the world. So thank you for including me tonight. I've been inspired by being with other people who do share Church World Service's vision of building a world where there is enough for all. So thank you. Most of you will remember that back in August, the United States evacuated over 75,000 Afghan allies. And in the weeks after, the refugee resettlement agencies across the country were ramping up, trying to respond. And part of that was sending volunteer staff. CWS in North Carolina sent staff to military bases across the US to help process all of the cases and help care for all of the individuals who were being flown to different military bases. And one of my coworkers, Autumn, went to Holloman Air Force Base in New Mexico and was there for several weeks, helped to process several thousand cases and get them to the next point in their journey. But while she was there, she met a lot of people. And she happened to meet a group of guys who were all friends who were actually going to be resettling through CWS in North Carolina. So she just, struck up a conversation with them, heard a little about their background and their journey and what they had experienced. And at the end, when they had to leave one another, she said, "Okay, I'm going to see you in North Carolina." And one of the men smiled at her and said, "No, I'll see you at home." And for the past few months, this has been the task that we have. How do we welcome these people who have lost their home and the safety and the sense of belonging that includes? How do we welcome them here and accompany them as they start this long journey of rebuilding their lives? And I will tell you, it would have been and is impossible without the enormous community mobilization that has taken place. Community members opening up their homes, offering their rental properties, volunteering to set up apartments, forming co-sponsorship teams, donating, making sure people do have enough food, a way to access healthcare, to get enrolled in school, all of these things that people need to restart. And so we have a ways to go, more Afghans to resettle in the coming months, but it has been a really inspiring journey made possible by many of your congregations and businesses and friends. So I just want to thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate you joining us, Mary Ellen, and sharing about the important work that our local Church World Service office is doing. We're so glad that part of our crop walk work can help support the work that you're doing with our new neighbors in the community. Another partner that benefits from the funds raised from our crop hunger walk this past year, joining our team of partners, has been the Iglesia Emmanuel Presbyteriana food pantry, and we have with us Miguel Riviera from the pantry program there to share just what they've been doing and how they've been putting your crop walk dollars to use. Miguel? I think Miguel is back on with us.
Yes, he's muted. He's muted. He's trying to speak.
Sorry, I just unmute myself. I would say thank you for inviting me. Iglesia Emmanuel is a very, very small Hispanic church, only 2 people in the staff, that historically for the past 10 years had a food pantry where every Wednesday evening the members of the church prepare a hot dinner for the people in the community and then gave them food. With the pandemic, they had to stop meeting indoors and they moved the operation to the parking lot, and the thing exploded. From serving about 50 or 60 families before the pandemic, we are serving now about 600 families, or almost 3,000 people per week. This obviously requires a lot of resources, financial resources, food, and so forth. So the money raised by the crop walk has been a good welcome because it gave us the opportunity to buy food for these families. I have to tell you that God is making a miracle in our place every Wednesday. We started with no resources whatsoever. We just let people know in the community that what we were doing, and if they're willing to help us, that it was very much welcome. To make a long story short, every week, not knowing where the money was coming from, not knowing where the food was coming from, we were able to feed 600 people, 600 families with good quality food. We give them a bag full of shelf-stable products and perishable, and then we get them a big box of fresh produce. We estimated that between those two things, a family of 4 has enough food to eat for 4 days. So I invite you all to come and take a look at us, help us as volunteers. This is an 100% volunteer-led organization. The 2 staff in the church, of course, help, and that was their vision to do this, but the volunteers are basically running this whole pantry. So again, thank you so much for listening to me, and you're always all welcome to come and take a look at us, help us, serve food, or bring more resources. You are always welcome. Thank you.
Thank you, Miguel. Really happy to be a small part of the support that you're getting for all that important work since the pandemic began. And look forward to continuing to work with you and our other crop walkers together. We unfortunately, during the interruption from the Zoom bombing, we lost Tessa Johnson with the Food Bank of Central and Eastern North Carolina. She actually had to leave to go to another commitment. And we've been unable to get Shayna Kernig and Tammy Lawrence from Families Moving Forward back on with us. It doesn't look like they've been able to get back on yet, but we do have with us Jason Peace, the executive director of Meals on Wheels, who started just a few weeks in that post before the pandemic began. And talk about getting your start, your trial by fire right at the outset. It has been a real pleasure to work with him in the last couple of years in the community coordination response to the pandemic for food support for seniors in the community. And that earlier reflection we had on the historical roots of the Durham Crop Hunger Walk back in '75, from the very beginning in 1975, part of the funds raised at the Crop Hunger Walk has gone to our local partners, and the first one, and for many years the only one receiving those local funds, was Meals on Wheels of Durham. That DCIA was helping to get launched right at the same time. So we're longtime partners with Meals on Wheels in the Crop Hunger Walk, and glad to have Jason, a new face in an old partnership, be with us tonight. Jason?
All right, well, appreciate that, Spencer. First of all, just thank you for inviting me, and thank you for allowing me and our organization to be a part of this experience. Just looking at some of the slides and some of the history was very humbling. And so we just appreciate the opportunity for the partnership and the connection. And then personally, I know you mentioned, I started, a couple of weeks into the pandemic, but for anybody who doesn't know, Spencer was one of the very first people that reached out to me once I took the post here. And he's been nothing but helpful and supportive, whether that's helping me to try to find resources or whether it's just been available to bounce ideas off of. So thank you for that, Spencer. But I just want to make sure everybody knew just how supportive you've been of us and of me and in my transition. So thank you for that. Real briefly, I can go over some numbers in terms of, what Meals on Wheels did last year during the pandemic, which, for all intents and purposes, I think was pretty impressive in the sense that we served more people than we have in our history, close to 1,000 folks. And we delivered more meals than we have in our history, over 200,000 meals during our last fiscal year. But I think the thing that jumps out to me and keeps replaying and keeps getting reinforced every time I'm either talking to somebody or every time I've been invited to a meeting. But Meals on Wheels is a staple of the community, but is bigger than just the name of Meals on Wheels. Like, it's a community thing, right? It's a sense of community, it's a sense of family, it's a sense of belonging, because we don't get done what we do without the support of volunteers and without the support of community organizations and partnerships and just community support in general. So on behalf of the organization, on behalf of our staff, our board of directors, I'd just like to say thank you to each one of you guys here who have continued to reach out, extend the olive branches, partner with us in order to help serve our folks. Right? Our folks for the most part, can't get out of their homes, so they're dependent on us to be able to get to them and to deliver meals. And we're dependent on you guys, our volunteers, and the support that we get from the community to be able to do that. So, I've been here almost 2 years now. I think maybe in April. It's a blur sometimes, but I'm continuously humbled, and I continually feel a sense of appreciation, not only for the staff that I work with, but also the community that helps support us to do what we need to do in order to get the meals out to our clients and our recipients. So I just would like to just say thank you. And I can't say it enough, but just thank you for your support. And I look forward to continued partnerships to make it happen. So thank you again.
Thank you, Jason. And thanks to you and Annette and all your team for the extra work that you've stepped up to do to expand your services during the pandemic to sustain and grow the services that you provide in the community. And thanks again to Miguel for the remarkable work that the team at Iglesia Emmanuel and all their partners have conducted over the last couple of years as well. We are, I'm going to ask Sybil Henderson.
Can I interrupt a minute, Spencer?
Sure.
Before we go on to the new walk, I just want to, we've talked about how much we raised. It was just a few dollars less than $159,000 that we raised this year. That's the most in the last decade for any single walk here in Durham. So that's really great. And over the time, the information I have is that we've raised $4,863,058. And my records are not absolutely complete. But if we do as well this in 2022 as we did in 2021, we will pass the $5 million mark in funds raised.
Wow, that's fantastic news. That's great. And just remember, 25% of that goes to work with our local partners, like those we just heard from, and 75% goes to support the relief and development work of Church World Service that we spotlighted at the beginning of our Zoom tonight. So this is, that's great news, Bob. Thanks for the update on that and a reminder, folks. And now, again, we're going to ask Sybil Henderson from our steering committee to introduce the artist of the 2022 Durham Crop Hunger Walk logo that you will all be seeing on our t-shirts this winter and spring. Sybil?
Unmute, so.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasure to introduce the 2022 artists for the logo, t-shirt logo. And that is Mr. Mafanabong U10. Can you turn your camera on, please, so that everyone can see you? And thank you for coming back I had a little trouble reaching him, but I'm glad he was able to make it back. As I was sitting here, I realized that getting the logo for this year all began with a Zoom meeting just like this. I went to the class via Zoom and provided the information and held up t-shirts and so forth. So this is how it all started. So the artist is a December 21 graduate of North Carolina Central University, where he graduated as a Dean's List student. He has numerous qualifications and organizational skills, including groupthink, time-sensitive projects. He has experience in creative writing, design, 2D, 3D software, and he's produced illustrated and animated works such as Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign, Maya, and Toon Boom. I'm sure we all know what all of that is. He has produced work for the NCCU Athletics Department, flyers and advertisements for the NCCU Art Club. He's participated in contests at Durham Technical Community College, as well as Hayti, the Hayti Reborn exhibit, as well as graphic novel, The Book of Kings and Prophets. So he's been very active in the community with his artistic endeavors. He's a member of numerous honor societies, and his community service has involved directing musical teams at a couple of churches in the area. So with that, I will ask Mr. Mufong to come forward and give you some information about his inspiration for the 2022 logo.
And yeah, he may be having some technical issues. He doesn't seem to have been able to unmute yet. While we wait for him to do that, I will for him to be able to see if he can resolve that to be able to get back on with us. I will show you the work that he presented us that was selected. And this is, we do not, the crop committee each year doesn't just come grab the previous logo or find a logo already used somewhere. We commission North Carolina Central University art students to compete with design proposals for the logo. And I'm happy to show you Mufong's logo that was selected by the committee from about 18 or 19 different potential logos that art students presented to us. So this is the logo for the 2022 Durham Crop Hunger Walk t-shirts, and you'll also be seeing it on our website and other flyers. It illustrates the theme of our 2022 Crop Hunger Walk, Breaking the Bonds of Hunger. And we're very happy to be able to get this onto our t-shirts and be making this our logo for our 2022 Crop Hunger Walk. And we're very, very happy to be able to support Mufong in his artistic endeavors and celebrate his creativity and skill in contributing this to our 2022 Crop Hunger Walk. 2022 Crop Hunger Walk will be Sunday, April the 10th, and we will be starting off again in front of Duke Chapel on Duke University West Campus. We will be having crop recruiter rallies to distribute materials in February. on February 17th and February 19th at First Presbyterian Church. We look forward to seeing our team leaders and captains in person there to pick up materials. It'll be come and go event. We won't be having food and drink this year, and we invite recruiters and organizers who are vaccinated and masked to come and get some tips on organizing and pick up their resources to make our 2022 Hunger Walk even more successful than our 2021 walk. Thank you everyone for coming back again. Let me apologize again for the Zoom bombing. I was saying earlier after we restarted that from an email I got, it looks like one of our team contacts inadvertently posted the information about the meeting on a site that the dark web was visible to the dark web, and in an attempt to get the word out about the meeting to some of their team members, and that's how it looks like we got Zoom bombed. So it's one of the risks of trying to cast a wide net to get our crop walk participants connected with this, and we will keep working to avoid that at our future gatherings like this. But hopefully, starting with our 2022 walk on April the 10th, we'll be doing much more of this in person. And with that, we will close with a short call to walk from Church World Service.
When a community has been trapped in poverty for decades, a mother's child is going hungry, a family feels forgotten, what can you do? You can believe there is good in the world. We believe in a world where there is enough food that no one should go hungry, enough water that no one should thirst, enough love that all children should reach their potential. Be the good in the world. Take the steps today.
It's a great way to come together as a community to support a great cause and to help offer our neighbors and people around the world a path out of poverty and hunger.
I walk rain or shine because no child should go to bed hungry. Not ever.
I know that my efforts are making a difference in the lives of many people, not only locally, but nationally and internationally.
Believe there is good in the world. Be the good.
And we look forward to being the good with all of you April 10th and in preparation between now and then. Thank you all. Thank you to the Crop Hunger Walk Steering Committee members who are here with us tonight, who helped prepare and organize this, to Tom and Sybil, Roberta, and Bob and Annette and Joe and Martha and everybody else. I may be missing someone, and those who, and Ellen and those who couldn't be here with us tonight also. Thanks to all of the committee members for your work helping to make this happen as a success this year. Have a good night, everybody. Be safe, stay well.
Thank you, Spencer.
And Jenny.
Nice.
Yes, thank you, Jenny.